It's your boy Zay-P, Zay-P the I am. I am that I am, as you are that you are, for we are all that we are. From the individual to the many, from the many comes the all, and the all is one. So your boy's back with a brand new video. I want to thank you all for popping in. I just wanted to show up again, this recurring theme of just the need for us to persevere, to push through, and to continue to show up for ourselves. This keeps coming up in my everyday life. I keep meeting different forms of resistance, and it's a matter of being mindful enough to recognize when I'm hitting that little form of resistance and to take some action. So here I am again, showing up. If you're new here, be sure to hit that like button. Follow, subscribe if you're on YouTube, Instagram, or even Facebook. Zay-P the I am, as we're trying to grow this community of awakening minds, awakening souls, awakening hearts. That said, let's connect directly with the energies. What's coming through is that we've been keeping solid, keeping still, so to speak, in our forms so much that it's created this rigid ache, an ache in the structure of the collective. We've gotten so big and so stiff in our movements, in our ideas, and our understandings that we've lost pliability. We've lost our ability to maneuver, to flow through life. We've become so structured and rigid that we've begun to manifest an external realm where only rigid, stiff structures can exist. We've created a world of blocks and forms and shapes and ideas that lock and box us in. And when we're boxed in, we're disconnected from the true source. We're disconnected from our true self, because the self, the soul, is malleable. It transforms, we transform. Change is ever occurring. And it is only when we understand that pliability that we can bring back more movement, more motion, more momentum into our lives, into the trajectory of that which we wish to create. And so this message is coming forth today through the I am, through the self, through Zay-P, that which calls himself one and all simultaneously. This message is coming for all of us to learn to ease into the flow of life, bring back the motion and the swaying nature that is ever present. Stiff structures and forms eventually will deteriorate. They can only last but so long against the crashing tides of creation and destruction, between both opposing forces that combine to make a harmonious, singular force, singular experience. It is the id and the ego, the yin and the yang, balanced in the one. And structures that are rigid and stiff in their form lose the ability to survive such swaying. We must come back to that aspect of nature, bringing back more of the divine feminine within ourselves, bringing back more of a willingness to flow, a willingness to adapt, a willingness to be at ease in your process. And less need for control, less need for proper ways of doing things, less need for desires to stick to tradition and desires to meet the expectations of others. Getting into the flow of life, getting into the flow of our own intuitive nature allows us to be more adaptable, more malleable, and able to keep up with the changes in life, but also able to create a momentum in the direction we wish to go. But not only that, but it allows us to properly defend ourselves. See, many of us carry these ideas that things have to be a way they need to be so that we can keep everything in control. We can manage everything. We can protect ourselves. This is the fear talking as opposed to the love. Back to the duality, the yin and the yang. So, when we can see that fear, which creates this rigidness, this rigidity within the collective, this stiffness, this inability to adapt, this aversion to change, to growth, this desire to stay the same. Oh, I want to keep old standards of my culture and of my traditions without adjusting to or adapting new cultures and traditions that are assimilating and incorporating and becoming part of the oneness around you. So, when we become so stiff and structured and rigid, eventually all of those old structures and falls start to deteriorate, start to crumble, start to fall apart. It is when we are like the trees that can swing in the breeze, the trees that can manage to survive the hurricanes, although the hurricanes are ripping out houses of structure and form. The trees sway and swing in the breeze. And this is what we must bring to our lives. It is time to let go of control. It is time to let go of all of our wishes to see and understand and know. You cannot. Your mind cannot hold it all. And yet, if your mind is balanced, if you are in that still place, that center of yourself, not in solid structure, rigidity, not so lost that you're blowing all over the place either, but balance in yourself, then you can finally tap into those deeper layers. Then you can finally learn how to sway with the breeze, learn when you're being too rigid. You can be mindful enough to recognize when it is time to loosen up and go with the flow, let go of control. Trust in the universe, trust in yourself, your higher self, and your lower self, for there is no difference. If you truly believe, if you truly allow yourself to feel into all that you are, all that you could be, all that you imagine yourself to be, or could be, or would be if, all of that, if you can feel into all of that, you can bring all of that forth. But you cannot do it being rigid and structured and approaching life in this is how everything has to be. You've had to bring back more malleability and willingness and ease and flow. This is the nature of life.